Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have recently started working on perimeter and area. That's all pretty easy, right? Perimeter, area. Perimeter, add all the sides up. Area, length times width. But hey, maybe we'll shake it up a little bit. It says to find the area, but it only gives us the width of 9 feet. However, we know the perimeter. So if we know the perimeter and we know the width, no, we can't do that yet. If we know the perimeter and we know the width, we just need to find the length. So we need to find the measure of one of those sides. Anybody have an idea of how to do that, Celeste? Nope, you don't times 9 times 9. I need to know how long these are. I know all the way around is 48 feet. Silas? Forgot? Soraya?
You would add 9 and 9 and then subtract that from 48.
Good. Add 9 and 9. So 48 minus 9 times 2, right? Same thing. 48 minus 9 times 2. So we get 48 minus 18. And what did you say it was, Soraya? 30. So are you telling me that each of these sides is 30? No. Okay, then what do I do next? Soraya?
You split 30 by 9.
Oh, good. I divide 30 by 2. If I divide 30 divided by 2, what does it equal, Soraya? 15. Now, this tells me that each of these sides is 15. I took what I knew. I knew these two sides totaled up to 18. So the other two sides needed to add up to whatever the difference was. The difference is 30. And since it's a rectangle, the opposite sides are equivalent. So I know my length is 15 feet. And now that I know my length is 15 feet, in a moment I can call on somebody to tell me my area. She give you the answer, EK? Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. You got blue lips. You can't figure out the answer by yourself. Maddie R. 135. Does everybody agree with that?
Yep.
So the area
Do you agree with that?
is 135. I got it on Soraya's paper.
Yeah, I worked it on her paper.
Oh, that was nice of you.
Yeah.
To help her out? Yeah. Yeah. All right, this time we have to find the perimeter. We have to find the perimeter. They give us the area and they give us the length. We got to find the width. They give us the perimeter. They got to find the perimeter. We know the area, and we know this side is, it's a rectangle, so this side would also be 20 meters.
And then the other side will be 20.
It's a rectangle, so these two sides are 20 meters.
I thought you said square. You said square.
No, it's a rectangle.
No.
So now we've got to figure out, anybody explain this to me, how we're doing this here? Silas? Okay, what's my formula for area? Okay, what's my formula to find the area? Good, so area equals length times width.
What about height?
So we know 800
Miss Davidson.
equals 20 times W. So 20 times something equals 800. If I just take my formula and I replace what I know the area, so for A I replaced that with 800. I know the length, so for L I replaced it with 20. So now all I have to figure out is 20 times what equals 800. 20 times what equals 800? If you didn't know, how could you figure it out?
Just
Divide. Because the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So if you didn't know, you could just divide it. So you can divide 20 into 800, and that should help you figure it out. Or really, if I take a 0 off at the end of each one, I could divide 2 into 80. 2 into 80 makes it easier.
2 into 80 is... No. Yeah, 40?
Yep, 40. So the width equals 40.
Width is 400. Oh, wait, it's 40, yeah.
If you, because I can check it, does 20 times 40 equal 800?
Yes.
Yes. So that proves that that is my width.
Oh, I get it.
Now the question asks is find the perimeter. So in a moment I'm going to call on somebody to tell me what the perimeter is. If I know all four sides, Eli, I know the length of all four sides, I can easily figure out the perimeter by adding all four sides. Good. Tell me what it is, Eli, when you get it. 120. So the perimeter is 120 meters. These are the most difficult types of problems you're going to see when we're doing perimeter and area. When you don't have the information to just go plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this. Or this times this. Sometimes you have to figure out based on the information they give you. Now this one is called a compound figure. On this one, we need to find the perimeter and we need to find the area.
Do we add them together?
We need to find the perimeter and the area. To find perimeter, we need to know what, Maddie Kahn? Say the length of each side. Just say those words. The length of each side. Good. We need to know the length of each side. I know the length of this is 3 yards. This is 8 yards. This is 5 yards. This is 4 yards. But I don't know this, and I don't know this.
Oh, that's why it's so difficult.
So figure out, if you can, figure out what this is and this is. If you don't sit down, I'm going to hit you with a desk. Or a cement truck.
What's that?
I think that's just
it's
driving by.
All right, let's see. Brinley, do you think you can know the length of this right here, this side? What is it?
2 yards.
2 yards. How did you figure out this was 2 yards, Brinley?
Because it's half of 4 yards. Because if you look at
What?
I mean,
What?
Wait a minute. Shh. If this is 5 yards and this is 3 yards, if this would go all the way over here, this would be 5 yards.
that makes sense.
But it doesn't go all the way over here. So I'm just trying to figure out what it would be. I have 5. I know this much of it is 3, so this has to be 2 yards.
I got the right one.
You got the right answer.
Wrong way.
I mean, I can also get to France by taking a boat, but I don't necessarily want to do
I
that.
was thinking because if you look at the 4 yards right there,
Yeah,
that small little square is half of it.
okay. And you can't just look at the picture and determine how long the sides are. You can't look at the picture and determine how long the sides are. So now we have one more side we need to figure out. We need to figure out the length of this. And to do that, I look at this. This whole side is 8 yards. So Maddie C, how long would this side right here be?
4 yards.
4 yards. Why?
Because if you see, there's a 4 yards, and it should be another 4 yards.
Good. Because if I took this 4 yards plus 4 yards, it would equal 8. And so this is 4 yards. So now I can find the perimeter. You all can find the perimeter because all you have to do is add all the sides up. So in a moment, let's say 67 seconds, when I call on somebody, anybody, they will be able to show me where they did the work on their own paper, not their neighbor's paper, to tell me the area.
Wait, what do you do? Around the area or
Perimeter. Maddie, you got it?
Yep.
What is it?
28 yards.
28 yards.
Oh, the perimeter.
Perimeter's 28 yards. I guess. I'm not doing the math, so
No.
if she's wrong, speak up.
No.
It's not?
No.
Saraya, what do you think it is?
26.
26 yards. All right, let's go. Start at the top. 3 plus 8 is 11 plus 5 is 16 plus 4 is 20 plus 2 is plus 4 is
20. Wait, 26.
26. Okay, so the perimeter is 26 yards.
Oh, she put 9 instead of 4.
Now, this is not a rectangle, which means I can't just go length times width, because I've got a width of 3 here, I've got 5 here, I got 8, I got 4s, I got 2s, so I can't just do this. So those of you that watched the video that was on the Google Slides that talked about compound figures can help me out here. And Brinley, what should I do?
You do 3 times 8, 5 times 4, 2 times...
No.
I didn't watch.
Okay.
I was just...
What I need to do, if I'm going to find the area of this problem, Saraya,
Can I try?
tell me what to do.
So maybe you would just put the 5 up there. Like make it 5, 8, 5, 8.
And then that will give me the area of all of this. I don't want the area of all of it.
And then like
Smarter pants.
And then subtract this.
Yeah.
So I could, as my friend Saraya said, I could pretend this was one whole big rectangle, and I could find the area by multiplying 5 yards and 8 yards, and then subtracting what the area of this would be, which is 4 times 2. So I could do that. I could multiply 5 times 8
That's what I did.
minus 4 times 2.
Not what I did.
Okay, so that's one way I could do it. I could also divide it into 2 different rectangles. If I took this and made this a rectangle, I took that and I divided it into 2 rectangles. I have this rectangle here, and I have this rectangle here. So if I look just at the small rectangle, what are the length and the width of just this rectangle here? Silas? What are the length and the width?
12.
But tell me the numbers that are length and width.
Oh, 3 and 4.
Good. 3 times 4, and so the area equals 12. And that would be yards squared. So the area for this smaller rectangle is 12 yards squared. Now I want to find the area of the bigger rectangle. And again, I always go back and use the formula.
This doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense.
Area equals length times width. Now, Brenley, can you tell me what the length and width of this rectangle is? What is it?
25.
Tell me the numbers for the length and the width. Tell me the numbers. What's the length and what's the width?
The length is 5 yards.
And the width is?
4 yards.
Good. So again, I have area equals 5 times 4. The area equals 20 yards squared. So I figured out the area of the smaller rectangle was 12 yards. The area of the bigger rectangle was 20 yards. And how would I figure out the total area of the whole shape? EK?
She doesn't know it. Never mind.
But no, you're going to answer me. This part right here, the area is 12 yards. This part right here, the area is 20 yards squared. I want to know what the total of this and this is. How would I do it? Add. I'd add the area 12 yards squared plus 20 yards squared, and I should get 32 yards squared. Now let's see if we did it the way Soraya said it first. Works just the same. She found the area as if this was one whole entire rectangle. But it's not. So the area, if it was a whole entire rectangle, would be 40. Because it would be 5 times 8.
Wait.
That would make it the whole rectangle.
32
So if this was one entire rectangle, if this part was included, the area would be 40. Okay? Because it'd be 8 times 5. Now, this part's not included. The 4 yards by 2 yards is not included. So that's 8 yards, which is what we had here. And 40 minus 8 is 32. So we have 32 yards squared. Doing it both ways, it works that. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So 32 is the overall answer?
Yes.
Okay. I did the same thing, but I didn't do any of this crazy stuff you did. I just added all the sides. Multiplied all the sides together, and I got 42.
Then you got it wrong.
I did. But
You can't find the area of a shape like this unless you break it into 2 parts. Because you only know how to find the area of a rectangle. That's all we've covered so far. So I have to make this 2 rectangles. I can either divide the shape I have into 2 different rectangles, or I can take the shape I have, make it whole, so it's 1 rectangle, and find the area of both of them and subtract. Celeste.
so how do you find the missing part of the missing part?
Missing part of the missing part. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. Are you trying to find the area of this, you mean? Okay. Well, if I took this all the way over and all the way down, I know that this is 2 because we figured that out. You remember how we figured out this was 2? Because we know all the way across was 5, and this far across was 3, so then this had to be 2. You remember how we did that? And this whole thing is 8, and this part of this whole thing right here, this section was 4, so I had to have another 4 to make it 8 because it's a rectangle. So the opposite sides, if this was a full rectangle, the opposite sides would both have to be 8, and these 2 opposite sides would both have to be 5. So this plus whatever I got here has to add up to 5. This plus whatever this is has to add up to 8. And so I made small rectangles. Basically, I can do it 2 different ways. I can do it the way Soraya said, and I can find the area of the whole thing, which was, I'll pretend this is an entire rectangle, and I could do 8 times 5, and that would give me 40. But that's not the area of the entire shape, because I included this part in there. And then I could find the area of the little part, which was 4 times 2, and then I could subtract them.
Then how?
Or I made this into 2 different rectangles.
And how much were both of them?
This rectangle was 12 yards squared. This rectangle was 20 yards squared. And again, I'm recording this, so if you're still a little iffy when you're home later, you wake up at 3 in the morning and go, how do I find the area of a complex figure? It's on the tube of you. Soraya.
I just guessed.
Okay, good job.
That's
Celeste?
So when you said 33, the area of that missing part, you add all together.
Well, if you did it, you're going to do it in 2 steps. You're either going to find the area of this and add it together, or you're going to find the area pretending this is one whole rectangle and subtract the part that's not actually in the shape. Okay? Those are the two ways that we can do it. And I'm going to give you a little bit of practice on that. Yes, ma'am.
Since we finished this, can you do the card game?
Oh, I've got other things for you. Boom! Shakalaka, peace out. God bless. Love you. Do something kind today. Save the bees. Please subscribe. And bring me a Dr. Pepper if you love me.